Okay, students, Namaste. We are reading about Unit 6, the nature and environment, under which you have understood about ecology, ecosystem, different components of an ecosystem, and different type of ecosystem also. And today, we are going to read about food chain and food web, including the trophic level of of organisms in a food cycle. Okay, so let's see. As usual, at first we have to think about a particular question that is going to be asked, and the question is very simple. Try to answer by thinking what may be the impact on our life by the decrement of microorganisms and insects in our community. Think once. Will we be affected or not? Or if there is impact, what type of impact, positive or negative? I think very easily you have guessed, because you have already taught about different components of an ecosystem, that may be of water or of land. Yes, so I think it is not difficult to understand, but here in this class we will be more clear about it in different examples. At first we are going to see that what is trophic level. At first, observe this diagram. Here in this diagram, at the ground, I mean at the lowest level, there are producers. Yes, and here approximately that kilocalorie energy is shown. Just you have to understand that from here, when energy passes to next level, then by 10 times it decreases. Only that you have to understand. Yes, exactly that kilocalorie energy is not found here, and that is not real amount, but just for proportion it is given here. 10,000 kilocalorie, 10 times less, 1,000 kilocalorie, 10 times less, 100 kilocalorie. So here that is not accurate for each trophic level as given here. Just ratio you have to understand. Okay, let's see. As I told that at base there are green plants, maybe grasses, trees, yes, or you can say producers, which prepare their food by using sunlight, chlorophyll found in their body, and absorbing water and minerals from root, from soil through root. Yes, so they prepare food not only for their but for others also, as they are eaten by other organisms. You can say herbivores, animals like rabbits, eat them. Yes, so here energy transfers from lowest level to little bit higher level, but here it is very clear that maximum amount of energy is in the lowest level. Yes, that's why its area, and here this area and volume, whatever you can say, that is different, lesser. Yes, okay, and by eating them, snakes get energy, so energy transfers there. And here top level of consumers, yes, top level of consumer is eagle, so that is here at the top, and it feeds on them here, that and that both. Okay, but here you have to understand that trophic level, trophic is related with nutrition, that is different. The producers are termed as first trophic level, and after that where the energy transfers, that is called as second trophic level. So in this way, second trophic level, third trophic level, and fourth trophic level. You can say producers are in first trophic level, herbivores are in second trophic level, then carnivores, which are not top consumers, they are third trophic level organisms, and top consumers are fourth trophic level. If there is any other also at the top, then it will be fourth and another will be fifth, doesn't matter, but usually we use up to tertiary consumer. Okay, so same thing you can understand from another example. Here it is more clearly here it is shown that as we move from one trophic level to another trophic level, then the amount of energy decreases, and some of the energy releases from each trophic level. Yes, so here it is an example in a triangular form, or you can say in pyramid form. Yes, and that is called as erect pyramid. For any ecosystem, for the stability of any ecosystem, that this pyramid is considered as sustainable. Okay, and in the same way, again, here pyramid is shown. Yes, so first trophic level, second trophic level, third trophic level, fourth trophic level, and at the top you can say fifth trophic level. Yes, so they are different trophic labels. So what is trophic label in fact? How can you write? How can you define it? Let's see. The position of organisms in a community determined on the basis of the obtaining food or energy in a food cycle is called trophic level of that organism. The different type of ecosystem like pond ecosystem, forest ecosystem, you have already learned. So in them, the food cycle was explained. Okay, the interrelation between producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, decomposers were explained or described by food cycle. So there, this type of food cycle, here the term food cycle is used. So in a food cycle, how does the organism get food or energy for survival? That pattern determines that in which trophic level the organism remains. Okay, so that is called as trophic level. The trophic level may extend from 1 to 5. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes. Then green plants and other autotrophs are in the first trophic level, and tiger, lion, eagle, like top consumers are in the highest level or highest trophic level. Yeah. Okay. In any ecosystem, flow of food and energy is from lower trophic level to higher trophic level. Lower one is that. That is the lowest one. And then higher, higher, higher. So flow of food and energy is from down to upward, or you can say from lower to higher trophic levels. Okay. So it is about trophic levels, about which you have used already in different type of ecosystem. In fact, food chain and food web also you have discussed in detail, but especially that is called as food chain, that is called as trophic level, and that is called as food web is not explained separately. That's why today we are reading them separately. Okay. Now food chain. Here all of them are not same food chain. There are 3 types of food chains shown in the diagram. That 3 shows one type of food chain. These 4 show another type of food chain, and these 5 show another type of food chain. In fact, according to the involvement of organisms, all of them are grazing food chain. That type of food chain are called as what? Grazing. Grazing, grazing food chain. So all of them are example of that. But why I am showing here you 3 different rows for 3 different types? It is because here is involvement of less trophic levels, and here little bit more, here more than middle one. Yes. So that trophic levels are different, and the trophic presence of number of trophic levels determines the type of food chain also. This one is called 3-layered food chain. 3-layered, 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. And it is 3-layered food chain. Now you can guess very easily. Can you say what is it then? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-layered food chain. And this one is obviously 5-layered food chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is very simple to understand. Yes, 3-layered food chain, 4-layered food chain, 5-layered food chain. And all of the food chains given here are grazing food chains. Okay. And another type is detritus, about which we will read after that. In detritus, the food is not green plant or its part, but decaying parts are food, source of food, source of energy. That is called as detritus food chain, about which we will read after that. Detritus. Detritus. The meaning of detritus means decayed. सड़े गले को, कुही रहे को, कुहे को. Yes, decaying things. Okay, detritus. So detritus food chain. What is detritus food chain? Let's see. Here is dead leaf, or you can say dead leaves, and they decay. And these decayed materials are eaten by woodlouse. They are insects who feed on what? Such dead leaves. And these woodlouse are eaten by what? Bird. So that is here it is given blackbird. So look here, that is one type of detritus food chain. Here it is not, the source of food is not the green plant. And here it is more clear, decaying substance, detritus, decaying matter, on which you can identify easily what is that? Yes, that is earthworm. So earthworms feed on detritus. And these earthworms are further eaten by other animals. Here mole is shown. Yes. So that may be any other birds who feed on it. Yes. So all of them are three layered. 1, 2, 3. Here also 1, 2, 3. So they are three layered detritus food chain. Yes. So food chain, in fact, food chain is unidirectional flow. Here or in earlier, you can see that it is the source of food and it is flowing in single direction. You know it that we show the arrowhead towards that direction in which the food flows. So that is shown here because you have understood this thing in ecosystem also. So just I am reminding you. So here food is flowing in a single direction. In second case also food and energy is flowing in single direction. In that also food is flowing in single direction. Same thing is happening here. From here to there, flow of food is in single direction. From here to there, flow of food is in single direction. Yes. So that is unidirectional flow of food and energy. What is it? Unidirectional flow of food and energy. That means food and energy flow in a single direction, not in many directions. For that also I will give you example. But at first you have to understand about food chain well. I am going to give you final picture for food chain, that is also grazing food chain. As I told you, grazing and detritus. Here are green plants. Green plants are producers. These producers are eaten by grasshoppers. So they are primary consumers. Primary consumers are eaten by secondary consumers like frog. And here frog is eaten by snake. So it is tertiary consumer. Snake is eaten by eagle. So it is what? Top consumer. Or here it is given final consumer. We used to say top consumer. And when they decay, their dead bodies, not only of that, but all the others when decay, die and decay, their dead bodies are decayed by decomposers. So in ecosystem you have finished. But here food chain in single direction, no multi-directional flow. Main thing is that food cycle in which food flows in a single direction, or food and energy flow in a single direction. I using energy also with food because food is for what? From food we get energy. Yes, that's why I'm saying that flow of food and energy from one direction to another direction, not in many directions. That is called as what? Food chain. Yes. So let's see what is food chain. There is unidirectional flow of food and energy in a food chain. So that is the main thing. Yes. After that, let's see what is the second point. It is a simple relative to food web, as it is just a unit of food web. So about food web you have not discussed, but when you will discuss about food web, you will find that it is very complex relative to a food chain. Food web is more complex. So food chain is a unit of food web, means that is obviously it is what? Simpler. So food chain is simpler than food web. Food chain is less sustainable. Why it is less sustainable? If by any cause, any one member of that food cycle decreases or increases, that influences, or you can say that impacts directly on the other organism. That thing you have understood in pond ecosystem and forest ecosystem. But if there we have to discuss that if a group of particular trophic label, a particular type of particular component of a particular biotic component, there we have to discuss. But here in a food chain, if member is single and if its number is disturbed, it becomes absent or increases in more number, then directly it affects on the other organisms on which it is fed on. That's why food chain is less sustainable. Yes. If number of organisms in a food chain changes, it impacts more on the number of organisms of other trophic labels. So here these 2 points are very closely related. Yes. Because of this reason, here we use this sentence that food chain is less sustainable. Yeah. Okay. After that, up to here, let's see what have you understood. We have just discussed what are trophic labels, how many trophic labels are there, how many layers are there, what is food chain, how many types of food chain are on the basis of the source of energy, on the basis of layers involved there. Yes. So let's see what have you learned. Here are some questions about which you have to try to answer. They are very simple questions. First question is define food chain. Yes. Just you have to keep in mind that flow of food and energy is unidirectional or multidirectional. Yes, it is unidirectional. Yes, unidirectional flow of food and energy is called as food chain. Write the role of producer in a food cycle. In food cycle, what is the role of producer? So, producer is the source of energy of that food cycle, because from there energy is transferred to all trophic labels. Yes. Okay. Third one is related with diagram. So here a diagram is given, a food chain is shown in the diagram. On the basis of it, you have to answer the questions. First question is, what type of food chain is it? So what type? Here are two bases. On the basis of which there are two bases on which you can answer. Two answer you can give. On the basis of the layers involved, 1, 2, 3, 4, here 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5 layered. Yes, 5 layered food chain you can say. And on the basis of the source of food, it is not detritus, it is green plant. So you can say that it is grazing food chain. And perfect answer will be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 layered grazing food chain. Yes. So you can answer in these different way. Perfect answer is 5 layered grazing food chain. Okay. What impact will occur on the ecosystem if the snakes of the food chain are killed? Look, consider they are absent. Then what will happen? So they will feed on them. There will not be more problem. Yes. But their number will be increased because they are not eaten by snakes, because here where 2 type of organisms feed on them. And their number will be increased. They will finish their food earlier. And if this food is finished, again plants will be increased. And they will die because of absence of food, because here their consumption is more than production. Then whole the ecosystem, and if their number is decreased, again their number also will be affected. So this thing, this concept you have got in different type of ecosystem. Yes. Okay. Next, what will be the impact on other organisms if the number of plants decreases in a large extent? Whole the ecosystem, yes, whole the ecosystem will be affected negatively, because main source of food is if absent, then what will happen? You can guess easily. Okay. So these easy questions. After that, we are going to start about food web. Okay. So let's see. Here one diagram is given. At first study the diagram, and here I have some questions related with it. So you can see easily Here are grasses. Here is grasshopper, rat, rabbit, fox. So here labeling is also done. So you are clear. You can identify also. Yes, easily. So first question is, how many food chains are there in the diagram? Just write how many food chains are there. Okay. And look here, it is matching with your answer or not. One food chain, then two food chain, then three food chain, then four food chain. You are seeing that indicator. Four food chain, then five food chain. How many food chain? Six food chain, seven food chain, and eight food chains. Yes. Yes. So there are number of food chains. As I told you in food chain, that food chain is unit of food web. Yes. So here food web consists of number of food chains. In a food web, there are number of what? Food chains. Okay. Now next, which organisms of them are primary consumers, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer? So very easily you can classify them, that layer, then next layer, then next layer. Yes, it is a very easy question. Is there any possibility of existence of any other food chain? Let's see, let's think. Any other food chain can be formed here or not? Is there any more? Here small rabbits. Okay, here it is shown. Yeah. Owl, snake here, snake here. Look here. That rat is also eaten by snake. So from here to snake, one arrow can be given. And here it will be formed what? Next food chain. Yes. Okay. And so like that, you have to think about others. Here also this small bird can be eaten by eagle. Here it represents the group of birds, not only sparrow. There may be other birds also on which eagle feeds. So that also may be another food chain. So there is possibility of presence of or existence of other food chain. Okay. So food web, I think you have got idea that here in food chain, in flow of energy and food is not in single direction, but in many directions. Yeah. You can see in another example also. Look, oh, it is very, really it is web. Yeah. Look here, they are sources of food. From here in different direction, energy is flowing one direction. Then from here, another direction is shown, two. Yes. From here, third direction. From here, fourth direction and fifth direction. Yes. Yes, fourth and fifth direction. And then here, from here, sixth. So you find out there are number of directions. Really, there is web formation. So I don't think that here it is better to counting. You have to count yourself. Number of, here just you have to understand that there is number of directions in which there is flow of food and energy. Okay. So, okay, here from this, okay, this label is what? That is primary consumer. Yes. And this label is what? Secondary consumer, but not all. Sorry, here, look here. Here is also primary consumer. Here is also primary consumer. So here primary consumers are not shown in the same layer. Yes, this one cannot be said only primary. It may be secondary also if it feeds on insects. So here in this layer you cannot divide. Just you have to see here producer, then primary consumer. Here producer, then primary consumer. Here producer, primary consumer. Here primary consumer. Yes, here primary consumer already there. Here primary consumer. Then here also primary consumer. From here, that one is primary consumer. For this food cycle, that is primary consumer. Yes. And after that, it will become what? Secondary consumer. For it, it is secondary and top all. Secondary consumer is top consumer for this food chain. Yes. So in this way, we find that flow of food and energy in this food cycle is in many directions. Yes, so that is multi-directional flow of food and energy. So there is multi-directional flow of food and energy in a food web. Major difference in between food chain and food web. Food chain is unidirectional flow of food and energy, and food web is what? Multi-directional flow of food and energy. Okay. Now next one. It is more complex than a food chain. Here also you have got 1 point for comparison between food chain and food web. As it is group of many food chains, already you are given that food chain is unit of food web, or you can say food web is combined form of number of food chains, meaning is same, just in different way you can understand. So food web is complex and food chain is simple. Next one, in a food web, the organisms of higher trophic level depend on more number of organisms of lower trophic level. So here to understand it, if here I will write name of organisms. Consider it is grass group, but number of grasses, usually not always. There are some cases when number of producer is less, but usually it is found that number of producers or number of lower levels are less. So about that in detail you will be taught in ecological pyramids in higher classes. Here just understand the fact, the meaning of sentence only, and here on it grasshoppers feed, grasshoppers, and then you can say rabbit. Yes. So by this example only try to understand. Is there number of rabbit more than the number of plants of grasses? Is there more grasshoppers than the number of what? Grasses, grass plants? No. Yes. After that, they are eaten by snakes. Rabbits are also eaten by snakes. Not only snakes, they are eaten by eagle also. And here snakes are also eaten by eagle. So here is how many food chain now? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or you guys say 3. Up to here you can reach. Yes. Anyway, so their number of eagle is not more than rabbits. Number of snakes is not more than grasshoppers. So that point is given here. In fact, ecological pyramids may be pyramid of number, maybe pyramid of energy. Yes. So pyramid of number, pyramid of energy. So there are bases on which such pyramids are made. So it is not necessary that always the number of pyramid is that is erect. Sometimes it is found inverted also. Sometimes the number of pyramid is inverted also. I will give an example. In the case of a tree, single tree, single plant, there are number of insects other that means under their box, on their stem, more than the number of trees. Number of birds come on the trees to eat these insects. All the day number of birds come, number of birds visit there. So their opposite pyramid, inverted pyramid is formed. About these things you will be taught in higher classes. Okay, so don't be confused here. So it means that in a food web, the organisms of higher trophic level means that fifth, fourth, yes, like that, depend on more number of organisms of lower trophic level. So that is usually, not always. There are exceptional cases also. Okay. Now next, food web is more sustainable than a food chain. Already you have finished that why food chain is not sustainable. Because if there is a, okay, at first understand about food web, then by that example, I will make you understand again that why food chain is not sustainable. Here is food web. Consider there is less number of rabbits. number of rabbits is increased. Sorry, increased, you can say increased or decreased anyway. Here it is increasing. Then what will happen? Their number may be controlled by them also. They will get food. And here, because they are two, if their number is decreasing, then also doesn't matter. It can feed on that. It may be affected. Yes. But here only two examples are given. There may be other herbivores also. Yeah. So if there are number of organisms in a particular trophic level in a food wave, then increment or decrement of only one type of member does not affect a lot, does not affect more. Only that thing you have to understand. Okay. And if there is a single food chain like that, then what will happen? In this condition, if number of one is affected, directly other members will be affected. Yes. So in very short period, other members will be affected. That's why food chains are less sustainable than what? Food waves. Okay. So I think it is clear now. Next point. There is what? If number of organisms, so same thing, it is given here for more elaboration about the sustainability of food chain and food web. And finally, we are going to compare food chain and food web. And in fact, number of points you have got for the comparison. So just see these two diagrams and it is your class work that write the points of differences between them. Yes, you are given few, just 1-2 minute, enough time, and you compare them. Okay, so some of you have done. Here it is, you have written that unidirectional and multidirectional flow. Yes, less sustainable, more sustainable. Yes, what is next? Yes, good. That is what? Simple, complex. So it is very simple to differentiate them. Okay. And one project work I am giving you, you have to make a model of food chain and food web. For that, you can make chart also. You can paste pictures also to show food chain and food web. There are different methods by which you can make the chart, that model. Or you can make this food chain and food web on horizontal surface, cardboard, by using toy animals and some toy plants. Yes, there are different, that means plastic plants and animals available around us in the market. So by using them, you can make very nice model of food chain and food web. Okay, so you will do that. And let's see what have you learned in today's class. In fact, today what have we learned? Just listen once. Today we started the lesson from trophic level. We found that a trophic level of an organism is determined by the way of getting food by that organism in a food cycle. Yes, and we found that the trophic level varies in between 1 to 5. The lowest level is at the ground, that means is of producers, and the highest level is of the consumers who feed on others. I can say top consumers who feed on others, but they are not eaten by other animals. Okay. And then we did about food chain, different types of food chain on the basis of the source of food. We divided them into detritus and grazing. And on the basis of the layers present in that food chain, we classified them 3 layered, 4 layered, 5 layered, like that. Yes. And after that, we discussed about food web, and then we compared food chain and food web. It was today's class. So let's see about some questions and try to answer. In which trophic level does jackal fall in a grassland ecosystem? Okay, communities, grassland, jackals are found in that. Maybe in forest, that's why it is just specified. So yes, all of you have identified that it is what? Third, because at first there are producers and In second, there are what? Yes, herbivores. And as they are carnivores, they are what? Third. They are what? Third. Okay, next one. Which type of food chain is shown in the diagram? 3-layered grazing, 2-layered detritus, 3-layered detritus, or 2-layer grazing? Guessed easily. 3-layered. What? It is grazing because there is no detritus. Green plant is shown here. Green part of plant is shown here. So it is grazing. It doesn't mean that like cows they have to graze. Yes, and you know also that we use the term grazing, grazing of bees, grazing of grasshoppers. Yes, okay, that term is in use. Okay, so that is 3-layered grazing. Third one, in which trophic level of a food cycle there is maximum energy? You have guessed highest? Huh? Yes, let's see. It is not highest. It is what? The lowest trophic level. The lowest trophic level is of producers. Okay. Now next, which of following has multidirectional flow of energy? I can say multidirectional flow of food and energy. Doesn't matter. Same thing. So easily you have guessed. You may be confused in food web and food cycle because food web is also a type of food cycle. But food cycle is not only the food web. There may be food chain also. That's why the perfect answer is what? Food web. Because food cycle may be food chain, may be food web. So there are both directional, unidirectional, multidirectional, both. Yes. So your perfect answer is what? Food web. Okay. Now some other questions are here to which you have to copy and write answer later. First one is define food wave. Just note down question. Next one is explain the cause of less effect on other members of a food wave due to change in number of a type of organism in a particular trophic level. Okay, next one is related with diagram. Here diagram is also shown in 2 parts. Yes, 1 part, 2 part. So answer the following questions on the basis of the diagram. How many food chains are in the food web? So you have to count it. Yes, I will not count now. And you have to write that how many food chains are there. What are the food differences in between it? It means the whole and a food chain. That means you have to write differences between a food web and food chain. And final one is what type of food chain is absent in it. Yes, so you think once which type of food chain is missing here, and that one you have to know it. Okay, so that's all for today, students. See you in next class. Namaste.